talked about yesterday. And so I think information is being beamed around the universe. We're already doing this, by the way. Like, it's not like theoretical. We're already trying to colonize Mars with light energy and beaming stuff out there. Like, we now know that we can take a laser and shine it through a single strand of DNA, and we can put that DNA into a water structure of an empty egg or something. So we can take genetic information distance through laser light. And so if we've already figured that shit out, it's very likely that there's beings that have been around much longer than perhaps the human species that know exactly how to seed information into the galaxies through simple transmission of laser light through the cosmos, and you just zip that laser across whole sectors of the sky all night long, and every planet that has water on it is going to start to express nucleotide sequences. So you start seeding planets long before you go travel to them, and you're watching through a spectrum of light energy that can see biology. If you can see an egg of a being that's burning 10,000 times brighter, by the time you're at an ovum, you're a million times brighter than a sun. There's a lens that can see that. And so you start seeding genetic information out in the universe through laser energy, and then you're watching for evidence that it took root. Like, there's an egg of something is giving birth over there. And now you go zip to that planet and you start to do it. You start to geoengineer that planet. So I think that's something of the process there. So what began things at the beginning of all times? Well, it was light energy emanating through the universe, and a still spot happened, and it projected through, or got to witness a 64 double tetrahedron, which became the first universe, that became the first gravitational center that was probably the size of a nanoparticle, but it was collapsing energy so fast towards it because it was suddenly a 64 double tetrahedron expressed as a particle because it got witnessed by the one still space, and now suddenly every single particle within that universe is seeing everything else because in the middle of a photon is a still spot called a black hole. And so suddenly every particle is witnessing every other thing within the universe, and the speed at which you could manifest a universe is probably almost instantaneous. We love to think about these things as if, like, well, the universe is 15 billion years old and the planet's 4 billion years old, and we have all these numbers we put on this stuff. But that timeline is a human construct. It could be happening so fast. And my favorite mark of time, I think it was was it Alan Watts who came up with it? I can't remember what great mind did this. Maybe in the 1970s it got said, time is simply the measure of the number of things that happen within this single metric that we would call a second or a minute. The number of things that happen at the moment that a universe starts to witness it might be translated as a 14 billion year history, but it could have manifested in somebody's perspective in a split second because everything just witnessed itself into reality. So I think that's a little bit of what's going on, is the universe is manifesting itself at insane rates. And so for me to think of myself as from a single star system is probably inaccurate, because I'm actually being witnessed by the universe itself. So I'm actually emerging from Earth as a witnessed being. And so I'm emerging as a biology, I'm emerging as a particle state. And whatever quantum physics, imprint that happened when my mother's egg was fertilized, whichever soul was nearby and had permission to engage, imprinted on that biology. But it's no more local to her womb than it is to the planet. And so I think that life is imprinting, it's an imprint of quantum physics on biologic life forms that's creating this experience of self-identity in the biologic realm. All of that's happening in such a fascinating speed and such a fascinating, kind of ever-present moment, that I'm probably the universal expression of many, many, many lineages. And so I think we like the safety, because we feel like we're foreign on this planet. Everybody does. Nobody feels like an Earthling. Everybody feels like, I must have gotten transplanted because none of these people make any sense to me. So that's everybody's walking around with it. But the fact is, you actually emerged from here through a collective genetics that was probably laid here by many different star systems, because life became possible here. So many star systems showed up here being like, we want a piece of that. Let's go get in the game. Which is exactly what we're doing at Mars. Like, we want to go get in that game. We just found out there's water on Mars. Hell yeah, sign me up. I want to get there. My son wanted to get there. He wanted to go on Elon Musk's second trip, which I thought was smart. And so I'm intrigued that nature wants to see more nature, and so that we are an adventuresome nature being expressed, because we want to see more of ourselves. And this is why we engage in relationship, is because we want to see more of ourselves. And so one invitation would be, engage in way more relationships. You will live so much longer, because the length of time you live is measured by the number of things that happen. And so if you continue to repeat the exact same experiential model every day of relationships, not much is happening in your life. And you will die without having experienced much life. And so it will be a short life, even if it was 100 years. And this is generationally happening. You know, I love my parents very much, and I've come to really accept their marriage. But I don't think there's anybody in their rational mind that would look at that marriage and be like, I want to do that. But they're 52 years married. And as far as I can tell, it's a bit of torture every day to stay in that space. And they're experiencing a certain version of life. And when I went through my second divorce, my parents were like, you are absolutely fucking doomed. You're gonna be a middle-aged guy, twice divorced, nobody even want to talk to you. Like, you're gonna just die lonely. My dad told me I was just gonna die lonely. Like, you need to go back to your ex-wife and do whatever it takes to get back to her, is what he told me. Your mother and I really think you just need to do whatever it takes to get back into that misery. And so what I've found is that I have lived so much more life in 4 years after the Course in Miracles released me from the belief that I needed to own or be owned to experience love. And now I walk around the world as a fucking dangerous free agent. Fucking dangerous. And I've gotten myself into trouble because people get so fucking pissed off if they like show me their beauty and show me their sexual power and show me their emotional hooks and show me, and I don't respond. Well, you must be fucking Donald Trump. You're a narcissist. You're a thing. I know. I just read the Course in Miracles. They're like, no, that's fucking bullshit. That's your spiritual escapism. I've been told every fucking thing on the planet because I'm a free agent right now. Like, no, I don't. No, fuck it. I can't do it. I can't do that to you. I'm not going to do it to you because the Course in Miracles has told me you will see in the other person a trait you do not think you get from Source, and you will bond to that trait until you have drained it out of them, and then you will leave. That's the Course in Miracles definition of every human relationship. You will see in the other person a trait you do not think you can get from Source. You will bond to that trait until you drain it out of them, and as soon as it's empty, you will leave. And when I read that line, I knew exactly what I had drained out of both my wives and what they had drained out of me. And I knew that my first wife left me when I was completely empty. And I know that I left my second wife before she was empty because I read the Course in Miracles. And I was like, oh my God, I can see what I'm emptying out of you, and I will collapse you completely if I stay bonded to you because it is your most important gift. I am draining your gift out of you because I don't believe that I can go and make friends of my own. And so I have married you for your 1,200 friends, and I'm sucking your social life out of you, and now it's gone, and you're isolated in an apartment in Hawaii in the middle of COVID, and you've cut off all relationships because you expect me to give you all of the attention that 1,200 friends were giving you, and you're draining me of my physical expression of my life path, and you want me to just be sitting here giving you 100% of my attention and not doing my life path. You're going to kill me because I am so anxious every second I'm not doing my life path. I'm going insane because I'm not doing my life path because you want me to do this whole thing. I could just see the whole matrix. I'm like, I'm going to divorce you right now so that you don't die, so that I don't die. I love you too much to do that to you, and I'm never going to do it to another human being. And so I have to have this high level of remembrance of that feeling inside my body. Every time I meet another woman, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this being, this thing is beautiful. That's maybe the thing. Then I need to just sit there and breathe like, are you willing to drain that woman? Are you willing to take away her gift from the rest of the world? And the answer is like, no, I'd rather be my dad's version of lonely than do that to another woman. And I love myself too much now to be trained to my best things. And so I'm going to stay free, and I'm going to keep moving, and I'm going to keep upsetting people, and I'm going to keep upsetting myself because there's some huge part of my brain that's like, well, nobody wakes up next to you thinking that you're special until you start waking up realizing just how fucking special you are. And so it's just this learned experience that we're moving into. And so it's a beautiful thing to be alive. It's a beautiful thing to be human. It's a beautiful thing to be a free agent human. So be free agents. And you can do that inside relationships. I tried to do that with my second wife, actually. I came back to her with the Course in Miracles and said, I just learned this. I can't keep doing this to you. I don't want you to do this to me. We could do this inside a relationship. We could make so much space in this relationship that I'm going to go on my life path again, which I told you when you married me, I was going to do this life path. And then you're treating me like I'm a narcissist if I don't do my life path, or if I keep doing my life path. We can do this. I can love you. I don't need to be laying next to you every day to love you unconditionally. I can love you. I can provide for you and do everything you would want from me, not here. I can do it on my life path. And so I tried to think of, for months, try to do that. And then she suddenly came into a moment of authenticity. And in that moment she said, why are you trying to make me have your experience? I want to experience, I've never been married before. I want to have my parents' experience, which is they were married for 50 years. That's what I want. And I felt it at her authentic expression. I was like, oh my gosh, why am I trying to talk you out of that? That's the human experience you're looking for. You're going to find that in a split second. I'll just get out of the way, and there will be somebody there right away to show up for you that way, if that's what you want. And years later, she's not in one of those relationships, which is intriguing. Like, I think she wanted to be a free agent as well. And I think ultimately every one of you want to be a free agent and experience yourself. And I invite us into a state of relationships where we can start to see each other. I can see you in ways that nobody else can see you, because I'm a different fractal of energy than the person next to you is. And I'm experiencing this all the time now, where I can experience a woman just in a single conversation and see something that her husband standing next to her has never seen before. And then I can turn to him and say, I just saw this thing, and I think it's beautiful. You should check this out. Like, there's another way of seeing this person next to you. And the more I've done that, the more I've found out that the person that knows you less well than anybody else on the planet is the person that spends the most time with you. Because we are all free agents. And to stay a free agent in relationship, you have to have so many mechanisms of blinding yourself to that other person so that you're still free. So we do free agency every day, every minute, because it's the only way a soul can be. But the human experience of that is, yes, I'm in a relationship, and yet you're more and more bitter towards that person over time because they can't see you, and you feel unseen in this relationship. You must not love me. No, they are putting up all the necessary defenses as a soul to make sure they're on their own sovereign journey to self-completion. And that feels like rejection when you're told that a relationship is supposed to feel like this certain way. We're so programmed with that abandonment disorder that we interpret everything within the context of abandonment. So we think that the people next to us are abandoning us because they feel distant from us, when in fact they're simply loving themselves into wholeness. We gotta forgive everything. We gotta forgive each other so deeply, and we need to forgive the human frailty of this fear of danger, this fear of loneliness. It's all impossible. We just need to forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive, and we can ask forgiveness. And so if you're married and you're fortunate to do that, I think it's lovely. I think long-term relationships are fascinating and great experiences. And so go back to your spouse and just be like, I am so freaking sorry that I have distanced myself so much from you. I'm so sorry that I've cut so much of myself off from you that you can only feel this one safe way of me engaging you. I realize now there's no danger of showing you my whole self. And I feel really lonely because I don't feel connection to you anymore. I don't feel sexually connected to you, or I don't feel spiritually stimulated by you, or whatever it is. Like, I feel this way. And I love you so much for being on your path, and you're having your own experience. I'm going to witness that. And we don't need to break up this marriage. We can keep it married. We can do whatever we want. But just know that I'm experiencing this whole wide swath, and I'm going to start showing you all of that stuff. I'm going to be authentic in front of you, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be weird because we thought we knew each other, but we don't know each other at all, and I'm so sorry about that. So who have you become in the last 30 years? Who have you become? Who are you right now? What is actually making you take? Why do you keep doing these yoga festival things over in India? What the fuck are you doing over there anyways? You always come back all like happy. Are you having sex with other people? What are you doing over there? No, you're not listening to doctors. That sounds too boring. What are you actually doing? So we got to become way more authentic with each other to complete the journey faster if we want to. Or we can keep repeating patterns too, because there's something special about feeling lonely. I think we're kind of addicted to it. Abandonment disorders. The belief of loneliness is kind of lovely. I've written all my best songs in the belief of loneliness. And my first song that I wrote at 18 is one of the best songs I've ever written. And I was in the Philippines, maybe it was 19, I guess, that month that I wrote it. And I was isolated over in the Philippines. I was delivering babies. It had just like kind of ejected out of my reality and was feeling so isolated and so alone. All my friends were like off at college doing all their cool shit. And, you know, we didn't have social media, fortunately, so I didn't have to be completely buried in their Instagram bliss. But I knew that I was missing out on the typical American experience. And so I wrote a phenomenal song. So it's not that we shouldn't be feeling these things, because we should feel it fully, and then it's just like pain itself. when you really focus down on like, I have pain in my back. Well, if you just say you have pain in your back, then you just keep having pain in your back. But if you ask which fiber of muscle is actually hurting you right now, and you really zero into that level of like, oh, it's this fiber right here. All right, well, show me exactly which side of that fiber or which end of the fiber is in pain. Now push on that. And if you just push on that lightly for less than 3 minutes, the pain goes away. And so it takes so little attention to make pain go away. But when we feel pain, we recoil from it, and we're afraid to approach the source of pain. And so then we play out relationships in that same way. Oh, this part of our relationship is really painful, and so I'm just going to avoid that. And pretty soon you're avoiding so much that you're not even actually experiencing another human being. You're experiencing the little shattered mirror piece that you're comfortable looking in. Oh yeah, that's my husband, i.e. that's the part of me I'm willing to see in my husband, is that little fractal of something in there. So to just put the mirror back together and say, let's just witness each other. Let's just bear it all. Let's do this. This is the best gift we could give each other after all these years of thinking we're seeing each other, thinking we're revealing ourselves. The best final gift we could do is just, let's go full Monty on the whole thing. And then you'll probably fall more in love with that person than you've ever fallen in love with them. And in that falling in love, you'll be like, I'm never going to do that to you again. I'm not going to drain you. You're not going to drain me. Let's create more space for self-completion. And if we do that living in the same home, great. It's probably cheaper rent. But if you can't do it in the home because I need more space, then I'm just going to do this other home over here, and I'm going to love you from there. My love for you is unconditional. And I've started telling my friends that as soon as I meet a new woman or a new person, I'm like, I already have unconditional love for you. It's insane. You could go like tramp all over me right now. You can go tell everybody that I'm an asshole or whatever. I still love you so much because I can see so much beauty in you in this moment. I don't even know you, but I can see so much beauty right now. I'm so overwhelmed. It's unconditional. You got me. You got all my heart from here on. Unconditional love. You feeling lonely? Just tune into me for a moment. Unconditional love. All the time. Emanating from this geometry. Whatever the fuck I am. I just love you. You're amazing. Well, that's so disorienting that they usually just leave, and that way I don't have to take the process of being like, maybe it's my person or whatever it is. They're so overwhelmed by the possibility of unconditional love that it makes it a lot easier for me to stay a free agent. I become my carrot. It's really a sexy thing. I embody the carrot. That's one answer that I've said on podcasts, because some people have asked me what star system you come from before. That's not the first time I've gotten that question. And I've been told by a lot of people like, oh, I think you're Palladian, or I think you're Syrian, or I think you're, whatever, Anunnaki. And I'm like, I don't know. In this physical form that I'm in and experience the world that I am, all I am quite sure of is I am actually an incarnated teddy bear. Like, I spent lifetimes just like sitting on children's bed as a teddy bear, waiting for them to come home and give me a giant hug and cuddle me all night long, feeling safe and accepted by me. And then I thought, well, what would that feel like to be a human as a teddy bear? That'd be fun, because then I could like move around. I wouldn't have to wait for the kid I could actually have a kid, and that'd be cool. So I think I'm just like an animated teddy bear that's come in, because I really love being cuddled. And I love just like being held at night. And I love people feeling really seen by me. And that's what I am. I'm just a giant fucking teddy bear. Can't come into a physical form. And maybe that's Anunnaki or anything else, but it's still an Anunnaki's teddy bear, so it just doesn't matter which planet I came from. And so just find that little piece of yourself. Find the teddy bear inside yourself. What are you actually? What thing are you? How do you love for people to feel when you're next to them? Well, do that. Maybe you're the chef. Maybe you just love feeding people so much. Well, then stop working and just start cooking for people, and whatever it is. So just find your superpower. Unconditional love. We got so much to look forward to.